So like a lot of people, Zelda has been taking up most of my free time these past couple of weeks. Am I still close to finishing it? No. But I still somehow managed to get some reading in, and one of the things I read recently was Yellowface by Rebecca Kwong. This is a book I've mentioned several times because I was very much anticipating it, not only because it's Rebecca Kwong, who of course authored The Poppy War and Babel being one of the best books I've read this year, but because the premise for this one was absolutely insane, and I'm here today to tell you if it lived up to the hype or not. So this book sees Kwong take a departure from fantasy as she gives us a satirical black comedy. It follows Juniper Hayward, a struggling writer who has a problem, and that problem's name is Athena Liu. Two girls who met during their early days at Yale and bonded over their dreams of becoming famous writers. Something that was very quick to happen to Athena. As soon as she graduated, she shot into superstardom, pumping out multiple best-selling books and being the recipient of many accolades. While June was not so lucky. She did manage to get a publishing deal, but it sort of flopped, and now she's kind of just in limbo, trying to get something off the ground, but her publishers don't really have any faith in her, so she doesn't really know what she's doing. And this creates a burning jealousy within her, wishing that she could be like Athena. But as luck would have it, one night when the two girls are hanging out, June witnesses Athena die in a freak accident. Amidst all the commotion, June manages to snag something that Athena had been working on for quite a while. A freshly completed manuscript for a new novel detailing the role that China played in the First World War. And despite being in its rough state, it's very clear to June, and the editors she shows it to, that this right here is a masterpiece. And it's never going to see the light of day unless June finishes it for Athena. But of course, she can't reveal that it was Athena's work. So, she edits it a bit and passes it off as her own. And this book, entitled The Last Front, might finally be June's big break, get her everything she ever wanted. But obviously there are some very big problems with this, as if this news ever gets out, let me tell ya, June may have convinced herself that this was an okay thing to do, but what's she gonna do about Twitter, man? Alright, so Yellowface, Jesus holy. So yeah, this thing was something else. So this book mostly consists of June trying to get this book, The Last Front, published, and then all the hurdles she has to face, both, in the publishing industry, just general stuff, and of course the threats of her secret getting revealed. Of course, it is a very bad secret. I mean, plagiarism is like one of the biggest no-nos you can do in writing. She has a whole best-selling book full of it. The book is told in first person through her perspective, so you sort of understand her mindset, why she decided to do this. But it's not good. It's never good. June is an awful person. But the book does a really good job presenting sort of everything as morally gray. While this thing that June has done is terrible, there are still aspects of this story where she is not in the wrong. She oftentimes faces a lot of criticisms from people which are actually unfair and unjustified. Like Kwong's other works, she uses this book to comment on a lot of different social issues. This book was very scathing towards the publishing industry, talking a lot about prejudice. Of course, the book is called Yellowface. Athena Liu was Asian, and June was definitely not, but what she does have is an ambiguously Asian middle name. So she rebrands herself as Juniper Song. She never claims to be Asian. People who know what she looks like know she isn't Asian, but she knows what she's doing, and her publishers know what they're doing, and it opens the floodgates on a lot of discussions. A topic the book touches on is, whether or not people should be able to write certain things if they haven't, experienced them themselves. If a white person should write a book on Chinese history. And of course, most people would agree that that's a fine thing to do as long as you do your research, respect the culture, all that. And while June has done that, to an extent, like when she has added her own stuff to this book, she is still very much stealing the work of an Asian woman. And it just gives you so many conflicting feelings, because as June is getting criticized for all of this, you realize that a lot of these things people are saying about her are baseless and stupid and don't really make sense. But you also know what's really happening, and that yes, she does deserve a lot of hate and criticism, just maybe not for the things that she is getting it for. And it really opens up the floodgates into a lot of other social issues that get brought up in this book. There's a lot lot of social media in this book, a lot of culture war stuff, cancel culture. A lot of books tackle these topics, but I think this one did it to a great effect, as it felt very natural given the subject matter and honestly felt like a real thing that could happen. The book keeps bringing up how all these popular authors are getting canceled all the time, and that's what happens in real life. Sometimes it's deserved, sometimes it isn't, and this book tackles all of that, and I think it's fascinating. And all of this is great because that's what you want from a satire. You want its commentary to be biting, you want it to be scathing, and here it certainly is. It's very modern day stuff. Like, I don't know if this book will stand the test of time, just depending on how social media evolves in the years. But if you are like me, and as the kids say, terminally online, a lot of this stuff will feel very familiar. And the book is very funny too. June's inner monologue is so unhinged. How can I be racist? I have a black friend. It's that kind of mentality. She's just such a mess, man. And the actual narrative here is really strong as well, with a lot of clever twists and turns. The way June balances, being famous and also trying to keep her secrets locked away is very chaotic and messy and a ton of fun. Not being a very long book, it's super fast paced, things just get more and more out of control, and it almost jumped the shark at the end, if I'm being honest. It was going in a certain direction and I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go. It definitely got a bit cheesy there at the end, very Scream, but it did end up working well. I thought the very ending really brought home the themes of the book, really tied everything together, and while it may not be satisfying for everyone, I don't think there would have been a better way to end it. My only real criticism of this entire book is that I felt like some certain plot elements felt a bit convenient. For example, June needs to convince Athena's mother not to look at her old notes that she has in her house, because that might give away her secret. So she just kind of makes something up, and the mom just decides to never check them. Oh, okay. But other than a few minor things, I found it to be very well written. So overall, Yellowface was one heck of a book. A really crazy, darkly entertaining story with a lot of interesting commentary and themes to start a discussion. And it definitely proves that Kwong can definitely exist outside of the fantasy sphere, and no matter what she dabbles in next, I will definitely be there for it. But now, of course, it's up to me to finish her bibliography, and I will be doing so shortly, as I will be studying the Poppy War as soon as I finish The Way of Kings. And you will not have to wait long for that, because it will be my next video.